Okay, everyone, welcome to my daily right now. I do plan to do it every day in perpetuity, but this week I seem to be doing it every day. Uh, Welcome to my at least once a week stream of me working on open source development. At the beginning of each of these things, I kind of do a summary of what I'm working on, even if I have to repeat myself because I don't want to assume that um, everyone has watched our previous episodes, and I'm still in the early stage where I'm playing around with my streaming setup and trying to get it the way I like it before I start promoting it. So most likely no one's actually going to watch this, but we'll have to see. Anyway, uh, the two main projects that I'm going to work on this, at least for the foreseeable future, is machine control and data logging software. It's basically the successor to this software, and I'll talk about that more shortly. And another thing is some open source audio libs that I made for the Flex programming language. So what I'm working today is my Tripoli project, which is, as I mentioned, a successor to this software that is out there. It's being used by people, and my MVP is like a new version that can replace this for some engineers. Not for all of the customers just yet, but for some who are using it with the data logging multimeter. So here is like a screenshot of that to give you an idea. This is with using with a peel tester, but generally it's graphing two-dimensional some value over time. In this case, it's over distance, but it can be over time as well. Yeah, now I think about it, I should think about the fact that this is the X unit is not time in this case. Anyway, so yeah, but it's basically you get tabular data from hardware, and then you store it. You can make reports, you can save it. I don't have this installed in my computer right now, but it did run on Mac, Windows, and Linux. But most other customers use it on Windows. I am making this new version. It'll also I definitely work on all those platforms as well. So right now I'm just kind of working on the data modeling part of this. I'm mostly not using any code from the old version. I'm kind of starting over mostly, but I will try to leverage existing code where I can and where I think it's good. But that also kind of gets in trouble sometimes because some of that existing code is for a different use case and does not make it easy to do things the way I want to do it. And this one we'll talk about shortly. And a brief introduction to myself. I am a programmer. I'm lots of other things too. I brew. I do home brewing. I'm a nature nerd, a synthesizer nerd. That's why I'm into like audio programming. But this is more like business and scientific software right here. I made this software a long time ago because I was in a job where I had to use this kind of software, and what existed was either terrible or expensive and complicated. So I do admit that like LabVIEW was pretty good, but you really have to massage it to get to do what you want it to do. This is kind of more for a streamlined use case where you're using data logging meters of some sort to calibrate a thing. Basically, that's the standard workflow, and that's what I'm gonna focus on my MVP. The project that the new open source project that will replace this is called Tripoli. And then let me just go to it. So this is like the marketing website that I made for it pretty recently. It's actually hosted on GitHub Pages, but I got to work with my custom domain. It also links to my forum, which is not hosted on GitHub Pages, but my discourse instance. This kind of gives a good overview. I'm going to drop the link in the stream thing so anyone, even if you're not following me in real time on Twitch, you can at least look that up later. It'll be easy to see it on here, and then there if you go to the support forum, not for people who aren't here yet, but if you go here and then go to, this one, I also give a good overview right here, so I'll also put that link here. Maybe if you go to that, my Twitch, you'll be able to see this. This is also federated, and you can also use it in the new English mod shop. You don't have to, check this website if you want to get support. I'm actively having to get support for this old software. It's always through email shop, going through what I want to be able to support the successor to the software. In this way, people will still be able to email me for support, but I will try to, when that happens, I will put that answers on a FAQ wiki, but I'll also encourage people to ask questions here so that that people can find by Google searching. They can actually go in and add their own questions, and hopefully that's a better way to do things going forward. Discourse is pretty good software. I've used it a lot with many other software projects. Let's see, what else do you want to cover before I get into coding today? But just quick introduction. I mentioned the program and stuff. I also have a Ko-Fi that I set up. I'm not gonna start promoting this extensively until I get my streaming setup nailed down. I might even wait until the next month. We'll have to see, at least until next week. But I have a personal goal that I'm trying to save to make money for. So people donating any amount helps me justify putting time into working on open source code. And so this project in particular, what I'm working on today, there is a paying client who is using the software, and they would definitely benefit from a new version of it. But it still helps. That just helps pay my bills. It would help me a lot if people also donate to this. I will drop a link to this as well in the Twitch chat. Okay, so enough about that. Let me look at and this is of me kind of back yourself into a corner a little bit by jumping the gun about something. So I decided I would use this existing software, which is pretty good. It has Yodium 10. It close that one. Okay, this software is pretty powerful. It is a different use case, but it is similar in that it needs a columnar data store. So I thought I would use that, and I think I still am going to do that. But by starting with using that, I kind of made it harder to get forward in development. So what I'm gonna do actually is this code where I put a made to kind of wrap around that. I'm going to kind of delete it. But what's great about Git is I can just now I'm trying to make the one. What? I can't even move this off screen. I use my YubiKey for everything. Okay, so what I'm also gonna do is maybe tag this so I can remember later. So tag, using one. Oh, so can I don't know. I'm going to try to make this nice and big. Okay. Gonna push this to my, and all this is on code word, by the way. So you can go ahead and follow my projects there. And this is the one I'm currently working on, but all of them are under my consulting company's name. So I'm gonna put that as well in the Twitch chat. So Sabrata is the one I'm working on. The name of the overall project, which will probably also be the marketing template, is IEEE. But the individual parts, this is kind of more developer facing. Basically Sabrata is the head with version of it. And the MVP is going to use like a Jupyter notebook. So I'm going to be able to ship something that is usable before I actually make the GUI proper. And it gives me more time to kind of think about how I want to make the GUI. I still think I'm probably going to use GPUI, which is a thing that Jav uses to make the official desktop version. But I'm also going to use Coconut.ui over React and React Native for the mobile and web versions of the GUI. And the GUI is called OSS. And then this is like the web application part of it. So, what I'm also going to do is about that. And I also use mermaids as like the symbol because one of the names for the Libyan Tripoli is the mermaid of the Mediterranean. There are 3 Tripolis, but the reason why it's a Tripoli is not because there are 3 of them, but because there are 3 ports. And then, it's originally a Greek city, but there's also one in Libya and there's one in Lebanon as well. Anyway, I would love to visit all of them, but that is probably not safe to do right now, especially for me. Anyway, let's get into the code. So I'm going to kind of be very distracted and delete a lot of stuff. So, I need a trait to kind of represent a basic in-memory database, and then I need kind of a wrapper as an implementation of like a struct, and then the implementation for it that wraps around, reruns, recording stream and all that. I'm gonna go back to using that, but I want to kind of not let it drive how I want to do things, but I drive how I want to structure the data, and see how I can make that work with them. Whether that is using the high-level logging interface, or whether I work directly with their version of Apache Ariel implementation for Rust. So, let's start by, we can just remove these tests for now. They're just saying that I'm going to delete. And then, remove this implementation and this struct. So now we're going back to basics. I just want to add well. And, just to keep things simple, I'm going to, I guess we can keep it like this. So create a memory will still look like this. And then add will. So let me think about this. Are we always going to have time? Or is it just going to be arbitrary? And in the first column is just going to be something that can be, that's still a value. Should this be X? I mean, I determine the semantics of X? Or should I just determine there's always going to be a time component? I think I can say that there's always going to be a time component, but it may not be absolute. It may just be relative time. As I noted earlier in the screenshot, so the MVP won't be for this particular instrument. The MVP will be for a different instrument, but this instrument has a curious property that we're gathering distance and strength. And I think I want to keep it that way ultimately. But that means like we're having to make a decision and saying that the distance, that is going to be the thing that we use as the x-axis. And then in that case, the time will either not exist, or it'll be estimated, or it'll be calculated. In any event, it is not used to make the graph. But maybe the time can be, the screenshots I can interact with it. But you can see that the raw data, it really is just 2 columns. There is no time column. That can be calculated because I know the properties of this machine, and I know we can actually see what its speed is right here. We can use it to calculate the time. But it's gonna just be a relative time. So, this is the semantics that is reflected in how rerun does things. They have a time point struct, and the time point struct, the time, let's see, time, a time point. So time point is like time with respect to a timeline. And then timeline can be absolute. I wish also doesn't show me the fields, but timeline name, new temporary. But yeah, if I based on what I remember, a timeline can be absolute or it can be based on the absolute time or the relative time. I think those are the only two. There's like a third option that I believe that they also had. I'll just have it, time type, here you go, time type. Sequence, duration, or time step. Okay, that's actually a good one. Maybe there are some cases where I cannot even calculate the duration. So I'm thinking about these two use cases. But there's also this third one, sequence, I should also think about. So I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I will use this. I'm not going to rip that out. Rerun. I will. Yeah, we bring it in back later anyway. So might as well continue using its address. So time type. Rerun time type. Okay. So I'm using Kate here instead of Visual Studio Code, and that's because Visual Studio Code uses up way too much memory. Unfortunately, Kate doesn't do like a lot of syntax highlighting and stuff like that. Rerun time. Sans catty manual but stuff. But that's fine. That's how I used to these things. And I think I mentioned in the stream yesterday that this kind of brings you a full circle back because I was using Kate early on in my development journal. I was using Kate to work on that game that I was trying to make. I was using it to work on the modular synthesizer that real-time 3D modular synthesizer that I was trying to make back in my 20s. And I'm using it again, at least for the purpose of this stream, I am. Because we just not enough RAM on my machine to, even though it's a new machine, to do the USDR code and this AI voice changer and OBS and everything else. We're using Kate here. So I'm just gonna have to do things the old-fashioned way. Rerun time type. Time type. And then maybe to go and then delete. Maybe we'll keep component descriptor. Let's delete everything for now. Route ID. Yeah, I'll keep it bit for now. Okay, so let's just get it this way for now. Okay, so type and then time type. What is time type used in? Time type. The type of a time hit or create timeline. So maybe what I want to use is a time hit. That seems fine. A 64-bit number describing either nanoseconds, sequence numbers, or fully static data. Nanoseconds. So I don't know what they mean by this distinction, nanoseconds or fully static data. Let's look at the source to see what they're gonna decide. So, non-lin. Oh, weird, you're doing something weird. Like I was pretending I didn't see that. Oh, I was pretending I didn't see it, but okay. Hey, it's fine. I will trust the decision on this. We won't do the frame time it. Read up frame time int. Okay, so I'm gonna move that for now, even though Okay, so I think it's good. So we are gonna make the time a time int. So that is enough. I think that is enough flexibility for me to start with. Now for the data column. Data. So underlying, any which way you slice it, the underlying is probably gonna be Apache Arrow, but I think I'm gonna make a dummy implementation that's just like something in memory. And then that dummy implementation, the details of that can be like epic to this trait, so the trait can still work with what I bring back in the rerun stuff. So given that, what should the data look like? That won't involve too much data marshalling in each time I add a field, because naming some keys were named like thousands of times a second. So you don't want to do too much weird stuff thousands of times a second, right? But we also don't want to do premature optimization. So maybe we want to do, maybe I'll stick with something that everyone does do internally and make it like an array array or something like that. Okay, let's just start with writing some structs, and then, I did not want that to happen. I think that my key for putting my cartoon in thinking node and showing help might have been linked or something. Anyway, so a cell that's not like the time column is going to be maybe a scalar value, and if it is a scalar value, it'll actually have units associated with it. That's important. I want to have my units. I want to know is that newtonish or kilograms force or pounds force. Some people might be able to say just use SI for everything. That is a very naive way of looking at it, because there are different units for the same thing. As long as people use a unit as a proxy for another thing, like they say kilogram, when they really mean kilograms of mass, and so on and so forth. So anyway, I'm gonna keep things simple and use string to represent unit for now, and then maybe think about doing some fancy hierarchical enum later. So, how do we define a type? I actually forgot how I do that. As in, is it div? No. What is it? Okay, the Googlish. Rust equivalent of type def. A type, okay, visible type. Okay, so click unit equals. Still haven't. Can we do that? Yeah, I think that's good. Can you do something like that? I don't know. We'll just do it here now. Okay, and then, make that, might as well make that pub. And then, cell. So what are my possibilities? Okay, so it might just be a text cell, and that'll just have stuff in it. Or it might be a scalar, and that will have not just a number. Oh, and you do not make a distinction between int and float? Yes, probably. What's the right? So how about pub? We don't mean to make it pub necessarily. Still left. Float value. Oh, I know. Strict value. Well, scalar value. The fuck? And then, unit. Okay, does that look good? Oh, yeah. Okay, want me doing that. Expected that. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's doesn't have a size knot. Oh wait, good point. Okay, so let's do this too. Even Steely would have it. Wait. Shit, what's the idea? What? Always use the bigger type. Int 64. And I believe those are signed, right? I think it's signed by default. Actually, that looks pretty good. So, that's our shell. And then, what do we do? We just do like another well, And then we also need to determine the names of the columns. And this is always the thing I kind of go back and forth when I think about this, because my thinking is that for any use case, we don't want a lot of flexibility. Indeed, if we could even enforce the lack of flexibility at compile time, that would be great. But if we're enforcing it at compile time, that would also make us lead to all plugins having to be rushed instead of me allowing people to make plugins like in JavaScript or something. But then maybe I do want to prevent that. I don't know. We'll have to think about it. I prefer more flexibility rather than less. But I'm also thinking okay, so tabular data, it should be a series of vectors. And each vector is just all the same data type. So let's say for example, we're measuring temperature. So our rows internally are time and temperature. Temperature is scalar value, so really, theoretically, the unit should be a property of that column, and then the actual data would just be a vector of flux, very compact. This is a little bit less compact. It might be seem like I have a waste, each one of these has a different unit in it. Now, if we're using arrow as underlying store, it's already optimized by people way smarter than me, and it's also flexible, so maybe it's not an issue. I could probably put a different thing in each cell, and so, at least for some instruments that we might be using, the data type might change in the middle. So, I think this is the right approach. Each cell has the unit in it, and that might not be the most efficient way to store data, but maybe what I'll do is actually make my representation of the columns internally use two columns of rerun or arrows data store, but from the perspective of this API, it's one column. Maybe that makes more sense. We'll have to think about it. But anyway, I think if we get the semantics of this right, we don't have to care too much about the performance right away, and I can optimize things down the road. I think getting the semantics right is more important. Having atrocious semantics for the purpose of performance is just bad, I think. And I don't want to back myself into a corner. I think this software is going to support machines that I'm not even aware of the existence of. My short-term thinking, of course, is primarily a single value kind of stuff. Anyway, even if you look at this screenshot here, so you can see that this is kind of awkward. There's actually two tables that you can see. This table, I actually think each of these is metadata on this. And that these should just be separate sequences with separate names. And the sequence as a whole has this metadata associated with it. I think that makes a lot more sense. Because the actual data is just these two columns and then maybe an invisible time sequence column. Okay, so we also have to think of weird little edge cases because, like, okay, here the X is gonna be this column. It's gonna be not this column, this column. But I put things that are over here. That's also bad. I will fix that in the new version. The X is gonna be the distance column. Every value in there has to be scalar. So it'd be better if I can enforce that it always is scalar. But, maybe I can't enforce that right away, and then I could just skip the ones that are not scalar. I don't know how we would visualize that, but, just some things to think about. Like, we want data integrity, we want to make that, the API foolproof, but we also want to make it, maybe with, like, the semantics of, I don't know. Lots of things to think about here. Okay, so yeah. In the process of running this, it's gonna run add row a bunch of times. And unless I can have like a macro way of generating a different add row function, it's gonna be flexible. It's just unavoidable. And if it's flexible, then it has to either error, which is undesirable, or it has to actually successfully put those data in there, even if it's not necessarily the data that you want. Anyway, so I would say it's up to plugin authors to respect the contract and everything. So I think what we're gonna do is like do these away. Now, what is a standard vector? Yeah. Let me read up more about REST vector and make sure this is what I want. REST vector. Vec. I should say vec. So I don't need to include anything to use a vec. Oh, looks like I do. Okay. Vec. What is the A? Oh, just the allocator. Okay, cool. Yes. I need a custom allocator. Here's this trading back. Is that right? No. Anyway. So maybe we make this a map of so this does put in the question. Maybe we don't to have a mandatory. Oh, okay. Come to think about this. I want this to be that probably is in most cases a time series thing or some sort of monotonically increasing series thing. But it might be one of these cells that we actually use with an action. Then you can say that there's always gonna be. Now, okay, we'll keep this for now. I think we do want us time down in case we want to have an additional time. So I think that should work. Okay, so. Oh. They should at least compile. Yeah, I'll compile because I got a lot of bullshit in there. Does it do anything yet? Scalar value. So we use about, oh yes, so yeah, get a lot of unused stuff, of course. So if I was using Visual Studio Code, there'd be a lot of squiggly lines for all the things I'm not using. Now, let us create some abstract data store. Well, not abstract, the actually concrete data store, I should say. We call this simple table. And then we could just make this really simple, like literally Rose is a vec cell. Am I allowed to do that? I think so. Feels like bad news, but I think I'm allowed to do that. I think that's it. Like right now, I could even make it where I'm just turning this into one of the cells each time. The first cell. Yeah, that's actually perfect. So let's implement that. Implement table for simple table. So this should complete me if I try to build that, right? Missing everyone clear memory of equal. So let's well there's a white space. What the hell's that all about? Oh, that's not here though. Weird. Okay. Create in memory. Oh, why is it doing that weird? Okay. Yeah, I think Kate is a little weird. I love Kate, but it's, it's still, it's kind of a primitive anyway. But that's why I like it. It's charming. So we're gonna make it very simple. Just make it near. Ah, what the fuck's going on? Okay. Well, let's do that. Seems like I should be able to do that. Oh, wait. We wanna do just do table. Some. She is like. Oh, wait, create a memory. Alright, this one that's not looking right. Expected. Oh, I know the one thing. Whoops, it all. Oh, da. I kind of went into my old, pre-Visual Studio Code behavior, just constantly doing file. Implemented. Oh, wait. Da. Mismatched types. Expected result simpler down. Oh, yeah, okay, so. That, of course, is not right because I have it. I equal sub. The one that actually failed was saying I expected to fail. Oh, sure, we don't have to do that. We can literally just do some. Bit. Some. Yeah, that's what I did. That's actually compile. I wonder, sorry, did not compile. What is it? Oh, anyway. Oh, what's the difference here? Result and option. Shit, what is result? Am I? Hey, another seasoned Rust developer. You probably, if you're watching this, you probably noticed that. I see my Ko-Fi stream bot is actually working. That dropped the link to my Ko-Fi. But why the fuck would he not? Rust result. S2D result. I mean, right. Anyway. I seem to be okay, that's all. Yeah, okay. So this is okay. I'm okay, you're okay. Wasn't that like a book back in the day? Okay, so we are going to submit the implement is add a row. So it should be pretty simple. Now, data dot push. Interesting. Does you push at the beginning, or is it just like a one-way to kind of a thing? Insert. It's bad positioning next. Okay, cool. So, not super efficient, but well, shit, this is, oh yeah, not the thing about. So this is not borrowing. Yeah, let me think about this. So doing what? You have to think about ownership when it comes to Rust. For interface, doing what to own data? Do you want to take it? Do you want to take ownership of it? Or do you want to copy it? That is actually an interesting question. Yeah. Do I want? I think like there was calling Adwell. They might be wanting to use the data afterwards, but maybe not. Maybe it's always a character constructed, and maybe they always think so like this inline when they call Adwell. I'm guessing. Yeah, I guess that's my use case. So, Rust, we want to take this data. Okay, anyway, let's just see what happens if I naively treat it like I own it already. And if it doesn't work, I will figure out what it is. Okay. So, time. Time. Can I do that? Can about as mutable. Okay, so wait. We don't want this bomb, we want to take it. What's the syntax for that? Rust. Take ownership. Maybe that's all I have to do is this mute? Ownership? I think it's probably what I want. It's probably just mute. And then we are flush data. You can't decide better than that. Expected rec, so found mute. Alright. I am putting this in the wrong spot, aren't I? Oh, this doesn't help. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I have multi-select, but I don't know what the C combo is for that. The mute is part of the, this. Actually, yeah, I was a pretty attack flustered anyway. There you go. And fusing myself with bad syntax, I keep trying to. This was for, oh, wait a minute. I like it. I like this being explicit. My friend is not a fan of how, Python and some other languages force you to, but I kind of like it. It means you don't have to do like a million notation crap like that. Okay, that probably decided to make this, yeah, I'm gonna make it mutable. So again, she's doing mutable. Yeah, because we are definitely mutating this. Because we're a bunch of mutants. Right, so that I need to do that. kick us out to do. So wait. Come on. Oh, I expected Excel. I don't understand. Don't you start this? Wait, so it doesn't like that it's mutable. Why? Then you seriously start this? In that case, maybe I don't want to make this mutable then. Lifetime parameter. Actually, I think that's what I'm supposed to put anyway. Yeah, right. I'm being sorry here. I just had to make this mutable. I will let this make it on Mac. I can't fucking out lifetimes right now. That's also my this cell. Oh wait. Yeah, what else specifically? Rest mute cell. I think it's this one. Maybe I have to do like a back kind of a thing. Anyway, let's see. Embarrassingly showing how I kind of copying my rush still. It's 3. So there's just one error in its data. Expected. Okay, so why was that now? There was a explanation because oh, okay, so part of the issue is that this doesn't have copy train on it. Okay, so rust diode. Shit, what does that look like? Illusion. Young I want that. Yeah, I'll make one work too. So that does have shit. Oh, yeah. Okay, rest that 2D. Like, we'll just see how do you know I do that? That's probably better. I'm probably doing something weird. Let's see. Are there any issues? Okay, so this is made by Salamit for right. That's only one. I even said earlier, I don't want to borrow this, I wanna take it, I wanna steal it. Yeah. And then I don't want to. And then can I not do the reference thing now? Let's see. Oh yeah, just confusing myself. Let's see. So there is Noun is not implemented for scaling value. Okay, that is easily fixed. Oh, copy carrot. Oh, you ain't right. Back down to the scope. Expected type. And take mute. Move the parameter into the function. Oh, okay. Hey, so I did earlier was right. I guess I just needed to not have an ampersand. Ah, okay. I'm all confused by this, but... Come on, so if it's all this complaining about... Patterns like a lot in functions without bodies. What the hell does that mean? Yeah, how's that a pattern? Does that mean that I don't put in a trait but I can in implementation? Let's, an object to that. Okay, then I should compile. Okay, so I guess I don't. Variables are immutable. Well, maybe it is only to be. Okay, so maybe they'll stop saying that it doesn't need to be immutable. Okay, at least it don't say that anymore. Okay, so now push data. And then for that, now since I'm not copying, maybe I'll need to ban. Okay, cool. So I don't even need to implement copy anyway. Because not copy, it's just moving it into it. Perfect. Okay. Okay. My rust is kind of rusty, as you can see, but it's getting better. Okay, I was still thinking about it the whole time. Yeah, okay. I used imports. Okay, so now let's make things a little bit more complicated. Because we're ignoring path. And that is a good error. We are ignoring that. So, what I should want is like a slash map of these tables. Is that right? Yeah. Indeed, table might not be the right word for all of any of this. So let's actually change that, because we can have multiple tables depending on the path. So table is not the right, you could say tables. That, let's just call it a database. Or store. It's called store. 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 And then we're changing this to be store. Oh, it's like you do that, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes, like refactoring suddenly other things that you're doing wrong. Like I am not using self enough. Pub mod table. So that's pub mod. Store. Perfect, okay. So now let's implement multiple tables in the store. So rest hash map. Has to be collections hash map. T as out the structure T value and then I don't know what this is. Okay, I don't need to insert myself with that. Okay, so let's do now instead of rows, it is also say this is our simple table. And then for substore, what's with that? Now substore will be these STD collections hash map. And then the key is string. Set default to string or something, or just infer it from this, like the pilot figures it out, whatever. The string simple table. It's an idea. This is keep this so that still has simple string. So I'm sure there's like some shortcut syntax I could be using. I think that's right. Oh, why should I not the pilot? Unknown field. Alright, that'll do that. Okay, so is there something for to use find or create? But create is not. Hash map. Get. I just trying to find something if there's already a function that lets me do create if not present. Just want to see if there is a more insert. Map dot entry or insert. Or insert. Dot entry. So dot tables dot entry. Or insert. Default. Dot. Well, dot push. Let's see if that works. Huh, well, I just think what? Yep. Unknown field. Self dot. Simple. Oh. Oh. I named this wrong. Let's see what this is. Bobby Table's gonna be mad at me for not saying his name. So I do that. Don't remember how to do that. Oh, probably do like new or something like that. Duh, this isn't C++. Okay, it's a pile at least. Down to given value. Okay, now we'll just add some raises in a test. How about? So, using such as super, test. What I want to do, why I should just do it. Okay, so let's try this. How about okay, so we are what? Okay, to change that. Door equals simply store blue. Equal dot add. Well, even our add row instead of continuing. So, do you have what? Time it. Oh man, I don't want to. I don't know how to make one of those. I'll just put zoom and see if that translates. And then do that. We'll just do the banish thing and then see if that builds. Okay. Expecting one. Oh, does it death? What the hell? I am in Rustnut, Python. Should be easy. It's here. Oh, now she built. Expected time int. And why did that not build before? Oh, why? Because the task, yeah, it doesn't try to compile the task when you just do build. Okay. Expected time int found integer. I guess I have to figure out how to make one of those. That's trivial, probably. Anyway, that's it for today. I'll do more work on this today, but this is the end of my stream for today. Maybe I'll do it again tomorrow. We'll see. Anyway, peace out.